Welcome to Her Subconscious Blueprint, your no BS space for subconscious healing, bold breakthroughs, and manifestations. I'm Jenn Boyt, hypnotherapist, mindset coach, and your new healing hype girl. All right, today we're gonna go there. It's the part of you that's been quietly waiting for love, safety, and validation. This episode today is all about what your inner child actually needs to hear from you. Not the sugar-coated bullshit, but the deep, honest truth that heals on a deep soul level. Because inner child work isn't just another self-help trend. It's the foundation of who you are. It's where real transformation begins. Before we go any further, just take a breath with me. Let's just pause and inhale through your nose, hold it for a second, and then exhale it all out. Because this isn't just a conversation. It's a remembering. It's you coming home to the parts of yourself you had to tuck away to survive. The ones that you silenced, outgrew, or forgot were even there. But the truth is, this little version of you never left. They've just been waiting patiently for you to come back and say, hey, I see you. I'm here now. From a subconscious standpoint, your inner child isn't just some cute metaphor. It's real. It's neurological. Between the ages of birth to 7, your brain lives mostly in the theta state. That's the same brainwave we enter into hypnosis or when you're first falling asleep or in meditation. The state where we're open, suggestible, and absorbing everything without filters. During those years, you weren't just learning languages or how to tie your shoe. You were learning what love feels like, what safety means, how to get attention, and what it costs to have needs. Every tone of voice, every look, every unspoken rule was teaching your subconscious what's required to belong. So everything that you absorbed, how to love, how safety felt, what worthiness meant, all of that got downloaded before you even had the words to question it. And that's why when you get triggered today, it's not your adult self overreacting. It's the younger parts of you remembering what it felt like to not be chosen or to have to earn love just to feel safe. When you understand that compassion replaces shame, you stop asking, what's wrong with me? And you start asking, what does little me need right now? That's where the healing starts. And here's the truth. Your inner child doesn't need you to fix her. She needs you to love her. She needs you to see her, to hear her, to validate her pain without minimizing it, to hold her when no one else did. There was a little girl in you who didn't get what she needed. Maybe she felt alone. Maybe she felt abandoned. Maybe she was misunderstood. Maybe she was never heard. Maybe she was the one who had to grow up too fast. Maybe she became the helper, the achiever, the perfectionist, or the invisible one. But whatever it was, all she really wanted was to feel safe, to feel love, and to feel like she mattered. But instead of being nurtured, she was taught to survive, taught to shrink, taught to be quiet, taught to earn love, taught to see everyone else first. And maybe, just maybe, she never got to just be a kid. She had to manage emotions that were never hers to hold. She had to stay strong in rooms that made her feel small. She had to smile when all she wanted to do was cry. And that, my friend, leaves a mark. And so now, as an adult, Maybe you still feel that echo. Maybe you struggle to trust, to let people in, to slow down. Maybe you struggle to make a decision. Maybe it's very difficult for you to move outside of your comfort zone. Maybe you overthink everything or constantly wonder if you're too much or not enough. Maybe you're always trying to prove your self-worth, over-explaining yourself, fighting for people to understand you. Maybe you're afraid of making a mistake or stuck in a cycle of guilt or shame or anxiety. And that's not because you're broken. It's because that inner child is still carrying old messages. Messages like, I have to be good to be loved. My needs don't matter. If I make a mistake, I'll be rejected. I have to achieve to be seen. If you want to start connecting with your inner child, ask her what she needs right now. Like, seriously, out loud or on paper. You can try one of these practices. You can grab a journal and you write with your dominant hand as your adult self, that version of you that's here, grounded and present. And then you let your non-dominant hand respond as your younger child. It might feel awkward at first, but it is wild what comes through when you stop censoring. Sometimes she'll write things like, I just want you to slow down, or I'm tired, or I need to be held. This is how you start building trust. You're showing that your younger you, that she finally has someone who listens. No judgment, no fixing, just presence. And over time, these conversations rewire your nervous system. Because when your inner child feels heard, your adult self stops operating from fear. You start living from love instead. So let's get honest about what she actually needs to hear. Not just to cope, but to heal, to shift, to upgrade the child. Because you right now have the power to become the loving parent that you maybe never had. And it's never too late. That isn't just a cute quote. It's the truth. It's never too late to show up for yourself in the way you always needed someone to show up for you. And by saying this and recognizing it, it doesn't mean that your parents were bad. But as kids, we fill in the blanks. And in most cases, parents are trying their best. It's not like as a parent, we're Googling, how can I fuck up my kid today? But as a kid, we take certain things and we attach our own beliefs to them. And then that becomes our truth for decades, even maybe sometimes a lifetime. You might be wondering how this actually shows up in your day-to-day life. Here's what it can look like. You apologize for things that aren't your fault. You feel responsible for other people's emotions. You struggle to rest without guilt, like there's always something to do or something you should be doing. You chase love that feels familiar instead of love that feels safe. You can't stand the idea of someone being disappointed in you. So you over-explain, over-perform, over-give just to keep the peace. None of that means you're broken. It means a part of you learned that love equals approval and conflict equals danger. So your inner child has been running the show, trying to keep you safe in the only way she knows how. By controlling the outcomes, by staying small, and keeping everyone else happy. But safety built on self-abandonment isn't safety at all. That's survival. And we're here to move you out of survival and into wholeness. So, what did your inner little girl need to hear? Maybe she needed to hear, I'm sorry no one protected you, but I've got you now. Maybe she needed to hear, you don't have to earn love, rest, or safety anymore. You were always worthy of them. Maybe she needs to hear, I see you, I believe you. What you went through was real and it was hard. Maybe she needs to hear you weren't being dramatic. You weren't too much. You were trying to survive. Or it was never your job to fix broken adults. Or you didn't fail. You just didn't know how to show up for you. It's safe to exhale now. You're not in that environment anymore. And this time, I'm not going anywhere. You will never have to face this alone again. When you say those words to yourself with intention and presence, you start to rewire everything. Your nervous system calms down. Your belief begins to shift. That tight grip you've had on control starts to loosen. Because now you have an internal safety you never had before. Now you're not walking through life trying to be enough for people who could never give you what you needed. Now you're the one giving it to yourself. And I know this work, it's not easy. Sometimes we avoid connecting with our inner child because we're scared of what we might find. Scared of the grief, of the anger, the shame, or the sadness that we've buried for years. But here's the truth. Avoiding it doesn't make it go away. It just makes it louder, messier, more painful. But healing it, that's where the freedom is. That's where the peace is. And sometimes upgrading your inner child also means grieving. Grieving what you didn't get. Grieving the people who couldn't love you the way you needed. Grieving the version of you that thought, maybe if I'm better, they'll stay. But when you become the loving parent to yourself, you stop waiting for someone else to give you what was never given. You stop chasing people who recreate the same wounds. You stop performing for worth, and you start being. You start receiving. You start choosing differently. Because now your inner child knows it's safe to rest, to be, and to breathe. And this might look like setting boundaries with people who make you feel small. This might look like giving yourself permission to rest without guilt. This might look like doing mirror work, looking into your own eyes and saying, you're safe now, I got you. Reparenting isn't just something you do in meditation. It happens in real time. It's those tiny moments when you choose differently. Like when you feel that familiar wave of shame after you've just set a boundary, and instead of spiraling, you pause. You put your hand on your heart and you whisper, you're safe. You're allowed to have needs. That is reparenting. When you stop forcing yourself to push through exhaustion and instead let yourself rest without guilt. That is reparenting. When you talk to yourself kindly after making a mistake instead of tearing yourself apart, that's reparenting. Every time you choose compassion over criticism, you're telling your inner child that I'm here now. You don't have to earn love by performing anymore. That's how you start rewriting your blueprint, moment by moment, breath by breath. For me, it looked like softening. It looked like being okay with not being okay. It looked like crying in the car and not judging myself for it. It looked like feeling things I used to shove down. It looked like saying no without needing an excuse. It looked like holding my own hand when things got hard. I stopped performing. And let me tell you, the moment I started showing up for myself in this way, everything started to shift. And don't think this stuff happened overnight. But slowly, steadily, I stopped operating from survival. I stopped attracting people and relationships where I had to prove myself, over-explain myself, and stop needing outside validation to feel like I was doing enough. I started feeling at home in my own body and my feelings. And that is what your inner child deserves. To feel safe, to feel loved, to feel free. So if you're listening to this and you've never connected with your inner child before? Let this be your invitation. Let this be the moment to pause and ask, what did I need that I didn't get? And how can I give that to myself now? Maybe your inner child just needs a hug. Maybe she needs to hear you didn't do anything wrong. Maybe she just needs you to sit beside her, hand on your heart, and whisper, I see you, I love you, we made it. If you can close your eyes for a second, do that now, unless you're driving. Obviously, don't do that. And just imagine her, that little girl, that version of you. See her standing there. Notice what she's wearing. How old is she? The look in her eyes. What does her energy feel like? Now, imagine walking towards her. Kneel down so you're at her level. Let her see your face, the adult her that she became. Maybe she's nervous. Maybe she doesn't believe that you're really staying this time. That's okay. Just take her hand in yours and tell her, you're safe now. I'm here. You don't have to be strong anymore. You get to rest. Feel her exhale. Feel the softness return to her little shoulders. That's the power of acknowledgement. That's the moment she finally starts to believe she's not alone. You don't have to do this perfectly. You don't need to know all the answers. All you need to do is start. Start talking to yourself the way you would talk to that little girl version of you. Start making choices from love, not fear. Start recognizing that your inner child is still listening and she believes what you're telling her. So tell her something true. Tell her she's magic. Tell her she's worthy. Tell her she's safe. Tell her she can rest, that she gets to be soft and powerful, that she's not a burden, and tell her the best days of her life are not behind her. They're just beginning. Because now she's got you by her side. When your inner child finally feels safe, everything in your external world becomes to shift. When your inner child finally feels safe, everything in your external world, it begins to shift. You can stop manifesting from lack because you're no longer chasing love, money, or success to prove your worth. You already know your worth. You start attracting things that match that frequency. Opportunities feel aligned instead of forced. Relationships feel peaceful instead of like projects. Upgrading your inner child is really about teaching your nervous system that abundance is safe, that joy is safe, that love that stays is safe. Because when your body believes that, your energy stops sending out SOS signals and starts broadcasting trust. And from that state, everything you desire can finally find you. Not because you're hustling for it, but because you've become a match for it. If this episode moved something in you, I would love for you to share it with someone who needs to hear it too. Or tag me on Instagram. You can find me at Her Subconscious Blueprint. I want to celebrate your healing and your journey right alongside of you. I am so full of love and gratitude that I get to share my story with you. This is Her Subconscious Blueprint, where we don't just chase the dreams, we become them. And remember, you don't get what you want, you get who you are. So go out and be that version today. Much love and gratitude. I will see you next time.